important Jewish milestone. And since this program started in 2005, and we've celebrated now close to 115 actually B'nai Mitzvah, which has been just really wonderful. We always start from a place of yes. We believe that every child can engage in a joyful and meaningful Jewish education. And so it's really just a question of how do we make it happen, right? We're not asking, can this happen? Though many, many families come to us asking the question, can this happen? We're really working to shift that mindset from, of course, this can happen. It's just a question of how and making sure we have the right resources and accommodations in place. So we do this in a bunch of different ways. For our students who are going to learn to read Hebrew, we have an adapted approach, a Hebrew decoding program that is based on Orton Gillingham. It's multisensory, incorporates visuals and movement, and has been incredibly effective at helping students who might have otherwise really struggled to learn a new language learn to read Hebrew so that they're able to read out of that prayer book on the day of their bar bat mitzvah and of course beyond. So this is just a taste of what the visuals look like. Each letter is paired to a mnemonic device. So this is the letter Gimel. Gimel says G. It is going for a goal. And so that visual cue in connection with the letter really helps reinforce that learning for our students. And then once we translate it onto the page of the book, we really make the font size bigger, spacing, and we also often will use word windows to isolate the line that the student is reading. So that's for one group of students who are going to learn to read Hebrew, and we're able to support them. When it comes time to learning to chant from the Torah, we also have an approach for students who are reading the Hebrew text that incorporates music like notations and colors, and also has been super effective at supporting students who otherwise may have struggled to learn to read to learn to chant their Torah portion that they're able to do on the day of their bar, bat, or bar mitzvah. And then we have lots of students who are not going to learn to decode Hebrew. Maybe they're not decoding English either, or maybe, mastering one language is enough. And so we have developed, and Rebecca Redner is the educator on my team who's really been the visionary behind this work. She's partnered with Boardmaker, if you're familiar, that's used in lots of different special educational settings. She's partnered with them to adapt a lot of their symbols and incorporate and improve a lot of the Jewish symbols that's in their symbol library. And then we utilize those symbols to teach our students through using a sight words method how to read the prayers. And so you see on the left side here is one of the prayers laid out with our picture symbols. On the right side is a piece of a Torah portion. So these students have also been able to read from the Torah utilizing these picture symbols. And we program assistive technology with these picture symbols in order to make the prayers and reading Torah accessible to students who utilize assistive technology. So whether that's through the switch that you see on the left, iPad, other communication devices, and then we support the students in learning how to access that. Here's one example of a student who's currently in our program who uses eye gaze, and this is a low-tech solution that she's able to look at the word when prompted, so we know that she's learning the prayers through this picture symbol system through this low-tech solution. This is a sample of what a siddur, which is the Hebrew word for prayer book, communication board might look like. And for each student, it will look different depending on, where they're at cognitively, what their profile is. Some students will hit one button and the whole prayer it will speak the whole prayer. Some students will chunk it down and they'll trigger it piece by piece. But this way, they're really able to be a leader in their synagogue. Um, I have a quick little video. Let me know if the sound is coming through, though really the sound is less important. Is the sound coming through? No. Okay, let me try sharing one more time so that you can hear it. Um, okay, let's see. All right, we're gonna try this one more time.
And Accomodations. Okay. Now it's time for God Blue.
Okay. Just pulling up your videos again so I can see you all. 1 second. Okay. Did the sound come through that time? Excellent. Okay. Technology. Um, okay, so what you could see in that video was, he learned using our sight word system. He had his Siddur, his prayer book in front of him. He was given the prompt, okay, it's time for this prayer, and then he's able to lead it using his communication device. Um, So that's really like the 2 to 3 different approaches that we use for students in our program. I also just wanted to share a few other resources that we've adapted over the years and that are available for families and for students. So one is our Gateways Haggadah. So for Passover, we have an accessible Haggadah that both breaks down what is the meaning of the holiday. So here you see, what is Passover and helping the students connect to the meaning of the holidays. Breaks down the different parts of the Passover Seder, has lots of visuals and pictures in it. This little boy here is now starting his first year of college, so it's fun for me to see that. But it's really an incredible resource, the Gateways Haggadah. And then we also have a Shabbat companion for families to use at home that also incorporates a lot of our picture symbols. So on the right here, you see the blessing for lighting the Shabbat candles, as well as lots of different explanations and ways for students to engage meaningfully in the rituals surrounding Shabbat at home. Finally, on our website, there's many, many, many free resources. So I am going to put in the chat a link directly to that page. What you will find are B'nai Mitzvah resources. So for example, I have just a screenshot on the right of our graphic organizer to help a student write their Dvar Torah. So a Dvar Torah is when a student gets up and explains their connection to the Torah that they read or what it means to them to become a bar mitzvah. For some students, that can be really hard and intimidating, and we have lots of suggestions of ways that a range of different profiles of students can get up and confidently give a Dvar Torah. We've had Q&A format, we've showed videos, lots of different ways to make that experience accessible to all students, no matter what their disability is. Lots of downloadable prayers and blessings with all the visuals incorporated into them are available on the website. We also are working on more prayers that we plan to probably sell for a smaller fee since they're a little bit more robust than the free resources we have. But that should be coming soon on the Teacher Pay Teacher shop that we're setting up. We have lots of other things as well. So we have social stories. So I put that little picture there. It's just an example. One of our social stories is about the difference between birthday candles and Hanukkah candles. Because, of course, on your birthday, you blow out the birthday candles, but on Hanukkah, you're supposed to just watch the candles. You're not supposed to blow them out. So how are we helping prepare students for these holiday experiences that might, be confusing from what they're used to? So lots of different tips and tricks and resources around the holidays like that. We've got Torah stories, we've got activities. So we know that there's so many amazing educators out in the world trying to do great work to meet the needs of their students, and there's just a dearth of resources. So we're really trying to help make sure that educators don't need to reinvent the wheel from scratch every time they're working with a student, though, typically there's always a bit of individualization that does need to occur. But we want to be able to be supportive to educators all over. And if you have questions or you're looking for something and you're not finding it on our website, you can definitely feel free to reach out to us. And so yeah, that's it. Feel free to visit our website. Again, my name is Tali. That's my email there. You can also email cplinfo@jgateways. That's our Center for Professional Learning. If you're looking for more opportunities to connect and learn with us. And I'm looking forward to answering questions in the breakout room. Thank you.
Thanks, Tolly. That was a great overview about gateways, and we will have more chance to ask you questions. But I want to give Laura a chance to share about adapted word. So please go ahead, Laura.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Laura. I am from the Adapted Word, and it's very small. It's just me. My background is as a speech and language therapist. So if you think of speech therapists only working on speech sounds, we also work on communication and language. I worked in the schools and I put off volunteering at my church for a very long time because I had a day job. But once I started, our church needed resources and it kind of grew from there. So my passion is letting people know that disability ministry does not have to be overwhelming. Just the way that we use our communication and that we use our words and the way we use instructional concepts can make huge differences in the way that kids with disabilities learn. So, for example, we use a lot of visuals, like Tolly said, have a lot of the board maker symbols, and I use a lot of clip art. The main thing I tell people is that we don't children with disabilities, whether it's autism, intellectual disabilities, Down syndrome, genetic syndromes, a common link there is often that they have trouble processing and understanding and responding to spoken communication. And so, while my background is language and communication, sometimes, a lot of times, actually, less is more. A big tip that you can take away is that with language development, it generally matches the age. For example, a baby who's one is often using one word at a time, like mama, dada. A child who's 2 years old is combining words like dog, run. And so it goes up. So if you're using a lot of words to explain, then you may be overwhelming the child with disabilities, and so use visuals to help them out. One of the first things, and I tried a lot of things with our volunteers and with our kids, and it was hard to get to what worked with both, but one of the things is adapted books. So, um, okay, this is not showing up very well, is it? Okay, so with adapted books, you can move the matching picture over. Um, we focus on resources um, that have visuals and that are hands-on. Children with disabilities are going to find something to look at. They're going to find something to touch. So all of our resources are hands-on and interactive so that children can touch and look at things that go with the lesson. But everything is designed to support that learning. A lot of times, our volunteers have servant hearts. They're very good and they're sweet, but they don't know how to work with children with disabilities. And they think that they need extra training or that they need extra classes, but they don't have time to do that. So all of our resources are designed to be easy to read, so that at a glance you can walk in on Sunday morning. And what we were finding at our church was a lot of people were greeting students, but they didn't know really what to say beyond that. They would say, "Hi, Evan, I like your dinosaur shirt today," but then they didn't know what to say. So we focus on resources that promote the interaction there, so um, that volunteers know what to say. We also know that children with disabilities learn best through meaningful repetitions. And if you're if you just thought repetitions, how boring, that's what everybody thinks, but they do have to be meaningful. We know through research that children with language disorders, communication difficulties, need at least 36 exposures to truly understand a concept. And you can't get that in during a church event. So luckily, the 36 exposures occurs over time, but the more that we can repeat in different ways, and the more that we can retell the lesson in different settings or when other people are saying the same thing, the more consistency we have, and the more that the children are getting those concepts, understanding them, and realizing it's not just one person telling them, that it's multiple people telling them the same thing. So that's what we focus on. I do have a website, theadaptedword.com.
Nora, would you
And
like for me to share that website on the screen?
okay, yeah. And that one is, it will give you tips. There are paid resources, but there are free teaching tips and there are free downloads for you to see if it works with your kids or not. But basically, everything I do is based on that 36 exposures. How can we get in those meaningful repetitions for the kids who need that to understand and learn? And how do we encourage communication between volunteers, buddies, and staff with kids with disabilities? Because we know that we want that communication, we want those relationships to happen, and that's modeling the Bible. So and if you see there, that's my email list. I do email once a week, so with tips, but the website, I think, yes, there's the website. So if you go to the website, you can see what we have available and our different resources that we have for different lessons. Currently, we have 100 lessons, and so it's not a curriculum by itself, but it should go with most of the Bible lessons that you do have.
Would you like for me to click on one of these?
Yes.
Okay, for the adapted books.
So the adapted books, if you scroll down, you will see um, we have tips on how to use the Bible books. We have Bible lessons, Bible verses, and currently there's a child at our church who has a genetic syndrome. It's very rare. I think that that is happening more. I'm hearing that from other church leaders. We don't know exactly what she can see, but we know that she can see. So the adapted books also come in large print. So we're just trying to constantly grow, constantly trying to reach all kids with the gospel. And um, and then you can see if you scroll down the lessons that we have available and whether that goes with what your church is teaching or not.
Wonderful. Okay, let me.
Yeah, sorry, that's annoying. Just click out of that, just X out of that.
Okay,
Okay. So for Marie, the website, it's theadaptedword.com. And that's the videos of a child using the adapted books. So again, we just try to make it as interactive as possible. We try to encourage the communication, the relationships, for people who don't know exactly what to say or teach to children with disabilities, but they want to, then we give them ways to do that.
all right. Let's see. Okay. Well, thank you, Laura, and thank you for sharing that with us. And so now, what we'll do, we'll give everybody the opportunity to go to breakout rooms with your questions for either Laura or or Tally. And I thought it was just one observation. It looks like you both of you are using some of the same educational strategies, and which is really kind of cool to see. So now we'll open up our breakout rooms, and you can choose which one you want to go to. We'll stay in our breakout rooms for about 25 minutes, and then we'll come back and summarize and share. So feel free to join one of the breakout rooms if you'd like.
Where are the rooms? I can't find the rooms.
Uh, on my screen, you scroll down to the bottom,
I
and
don't see the rooms.
there should be a breakout room at the very
Oh,
bottom.
there they are.
Yeah.
Which one is going to be talking about autism and inclusion?
Well, they both deal with autism, but
Okay, so I don't know which one to go in.
uh, I would go in Laura's room there, Nicole.
Okay.
Does anybody need help getting into a room?
I do. I don't know what to do. I'm on a phone though. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Is that Patricia?
Yes.
Which room would you like to go in?
Either one. Either one is fine. They're both very good.
Okay. Does anybody else need to be moved?
I do. If I can go to the autism one, that would be great.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, who's talking?
Okay.
Is this Eloisa?
Oh, this is Eloisa. Sorry, this is Eloisa Johnson. Yes, if you can move me to the autism one, that would be awesome.
Okay, I will assign you to Laura.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Willie and Carolyn, do you want to go in a particular room, or I'll just move them? Since we need some more.
And Rabbi Levy, would you like to go to Tally's?
And then I'll move to.
I'm going to assign him to Tally. There we go.
Okay. Marlene, are you there? I'll just move her then. Oh. Hi, Diane. Would you like to go into the Jewish or the Christian room? Where she moved herself.
Okay, Rebecca, you can go ahead and go into Tally's room.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what happened to Diane.
I think she probably, oh yeah, I don't see Diane.
I admitted her. Oh, well, all right, I'll go. Okay. And Rabbi Levy?
I assigned him to Tally,
Okay.
so but I'm just not real sure right now.
I've never used these, so. Okay. All right, I'll go into Talia's room.
Okay.
All right, how do I go in the room? That is the question.
I'm going to assign you to Tally.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, Diane. Diane, this is Tom. Would you like to we're going into breakout rooms. Would you like to go into Laura Deakins or Tally Cohen Karras, who's Jewish? I'm just going to assign you.
Okay. Well, thank you. And yes, if you have an SLP on your staff, like the two of us are going to speak the same language. Beyond, matching what you say, kind of to the child's age, and you use that kind of as a barometer. Is that too much language or not? You can definitely use visuals. A lot of times, in the church world, we use words that aren't in everyday world. So for our kids with moderate to significant disabilities, they're going to be less familiar with words like disciples and baptism. So, we need to, another tip would be to be intentional about what you're teaching and think about, this is in my world, I understand it. Is this child going to know what it means, or do I need to have some supports to help them understand it? So that would be another big thing. But my biggest thing really is for a new kid, the ask the parents or the families what makes your child feel safe and loved. They're the experts, and they can tell you. A lot of times our families with children with disabilities get turned away from churches, and so we need to celebrate the ones who are coming. And, it's not ideal when a family doesn't tell you what their child needs, because then they're afraid you're going to say, we're not equipped to deal with your child. But it's also not ideal for church people to not know how to work with a child safely. So there's kind of a fine line there, but by asking, what makes your child feel safe and what makes your child feel loved, that's a beautiful starting point that shows the families you're willing to work with them and work with their child, but you need information. So that would be more for new families that you don't have connections with. Um, so I kind of rambled there.
No, I
Did
think the
that,
resources that are on your website are invaluable. So I'll pass it on to Lisa, and she can our SLP, and so she can certainly maybe she would probably even desire to reach out to you at some point and learn and connect,
yes.
collaborate, and that'd be a great extension of what we're doing. So we actually work and provide initiatives for city outreach and community transformation for many churches in 3 connecting counties in West Georgia. So that'll
Okay.
help. Yeah, not one
Okay.
specific church, but we we're just trying to bring this information to our churches to help them be equipped, be aware. And we do have some regional churches that already have some ministry going, but
Mhm.
are wanting to develop. And so this will speak well to that. Thank you so much for what
Okay.
you do.
Okay. And thank you for what you do and for attending.
Uh,
Okay, Melanie, do I utilize Canva? Not for the resources very much, which I'm probably behind on that. Mostly I use PowerPoint and then they come in a PDF because the PDF is something everybody can open. And I do use BoardMaker as my symbol system, um, just for a variety of reasons, one of which being it's more familiar to people than some of the other ones, um, but I do primarily use BoardMaker and then I also use clip art for the children with mild to moderate disabilities who don't need the symbols, who understand the representation that's abstract a little bit more. Okay. Um, and okay. What other questions do we have?
I have another one, if it's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you work with your kids with disabilities, do you tend to use them and ask them, or do you have a role model of a child with disabilities that you ask them, do they understand if it's mild, moderate, and or severe? Do you get their feedback when you make these? You just do it. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I tell people and then I do it myself. I'm like, don't diagnose the child if you're, if you're in the church, you wait for the
Yeah,
parents to tell you. But when
correct.
you have, when you have your own child or when you have experience working, it's hard not to do that.
Yeah.
But, and it can change from Sunday to Sunday. You may have, for example, recently we had one child who was doing very well with all the routines, but then school recently started. So he had to go back to school routines. So between school routines and church routines, that was just too many routines for him. So we had to allow a couple of Sundays where he got a little bit more choice on free time and play time. So,
Mm,
but I am a big person. A diagnosis only tells you so much.
right.
Families run in the language of diagnosis, medical facilities run in that language because they have to, because that's what linked them. But in the church, I think, we can say, oh, look, this kid needs to be in the beanbag for the Bible lesson, and we can do that. So it's focusing more on needs.
Okay, yeah. So I think at our church, our kids' church is from ages 2 to 13. And
Mhm.
so visuals that I've already made, I put in our younger kids. So even our 2-year-olds who are still only 2 can
Mhm.
use them along with those who have disabilities, and that has seemed to go really well.
Yes. And, remember what accommodates a few accommodates all too. I mean, you may have, and I'm just using a name here. You may have a kid named Jessica, and she catches on quickly. She doesn't have any known disabilities, but she comes in with allergies that day, like, and her ears are stuffy and her nose is stuffy. So if you're doing repetitions and visuals, that's going to help other kids understand better too. So, really what one needs is going to help all. And then, she doesn't need it that day because she's catching on. You've still got it for the kids who do. So, you're really helping everybody when you make accommodations and use the visuals. Okay, any challenges? I mean, I know we had one child with, and I'm saying, no, don't use the diagnosis, but just to let you know, he has Down syndrome. And when he was like 2 to 4, he was the sweetest kid ever. And then around age 5, he learned that no was a powerful word. And he would say no even when there wasn't an option, or even when he really wanted the item that was being offered. Um, and one of his big no's was leaving at the end of church. So, we had a visual schedule, which he did pretty well during the Sunday school time. But then, there were days it took him 30 minutes to get to the car. And, that's just not good. The parents felt shame and embarrassment. We were going, oh my gosh, he's been fine. What happened? And so I'm saying my suggestion here is our visual schedule, um, which, kind of looks like this. It can be Velcro, but speaking of low tech, it can also be on a ring. So that's a low tech option. Um, we made a visual schedule just for him for dismissal. Like, okay, when the last song plays, it's time to clean up, then it's time to go to the car. That worked for about 2 Sundays. And then he realized, no, I still don't want to leave because this is a fun place. But when he got to the car, his parents gave him either a phone or a tablet. So then we added a device. So sometimes, when you're using visual schedules, it can be for the whole thing. I mean, even as adults, we like to know the order of service. If you go to a restaurant, there's often visuals of the menu, that kind of thing. So if you're using a visual schedule, you can definitely do it for the whole time, but you can also break it down. That was a learning experience for me, was to break it down just for the dismissal because I had not had to do that before. So, you know, again, it's just giving kids what they need. Okay. Um, so does anybody have any challenges like that they're facing?
So this is Eloisa Jones, and I have a question. So
Okay.
we we can plan. Sorry, I'm driving, so that's why I'm not in camera. But
Uh,
we can plan ahead and we can try our best, right? But what happens, or any tips of what to do when the kids become dysregulated or have a trigger and
mhm.
meltdowns occur and then everything just falls apart? Like, what kind of teachers do?
Mhm.
At what point do you call the parents, or like how, any recommendations to that? Right onto West Sunset Road.
Okay, so yes, it's hard to know what to do in the moment. The more that you get to know the kid and the more you talk to the families, you'll know what their triggers are and everything. Um, in the moment, I
On
would
West Sunset Road for 4 miles.
okay. So in the moment, do you have a space or a room that you can use as a calm down area?
That's the thing. We have, like, all of our classrooms are pretty full in every
Okay.
church building, and it is kind of tricky.
Hmm.
So I guess they just, bring them out to the hallway. But then if they get used to come to the hallway every time they,
Right. Then do they use
you
that
know,
to escape?
they
And if you
know,
bring
they
them out to the
know.
hall, yeah, if you bring them out to the hallway, are they going to run? You can set up a corner, just with a bean bag, kind of block it off, maybe with some foam blocks or something. But before we had a room for that was calming, we did have a corner that we used, and you can have the noise canceling headphones available. Um, as far as, like if you don't have space, so the dysregulated behavior is occurring in a classroom, and there are other kids, you could take the other kids out, right now this kid needs some space, or the other kid's able to leave instead of the kid who's dysregulated. Um, but the main thing, and there's a lot of behavior um experts out there, like applied behavior analysis, ABA, and everything. From the communication viewpoint, the more that you talk to dysregulated kids, the more agitated they become generally. And so, you want to make sure that that oh, Nicole, you have an opinion about ABA. Okay. Um so um what you want to do really is just be there with the child and show them that you're a safe person, but not require them to answer. You don't want to say things like, you're okay, because in the moment, the child does not think they're
They're
okay.
not. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you want to do so definitely I would, put a calm down corner, at the least have a beanbag and noise canceling headphones. But in the moment, I would tell the other kids, this child needs space. We're going to go out in the hallway, take them in the hallway instead of the child. And then, what if your ratio is 2 to 1, make sure there's 2 adults with the dysregulated child, but they're not making any demands, just being a safe person.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree. Having but that's basically that's the concept of an affirming church. I mean, that's exactly what I want to create with my ministry is having a place where you feel welcome. I've been denied going in places even when I've calmed down because I've maybe had a meltdown beforehand, and then they say, nope, 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 you can't come in. Even once I've calmed down, it's like, no, you can't come in. And sometimes I want a simple yes or no answer. I think instead of completely ignoring the person's asking you a question, just give them a simple answer, a straightforward answer, because that could be even more upsetting to not have an answer. The problem I have with ABA is it's designed. I actually simultaneously on a webinar about ABA, and the whole thing of ABA, it's horrendous. It basically it's trying to make the person look neurotypical. It's based on animal testing. It's not even based on human education, and it doesn't work for a neurotypical person. Like, for example, one of the ABA things they say is remove all the coping strategies as a consequence. You lost your coping strategy, you lost your accommodation, your accommodation privileges. So the person, when they're in crisis and need their accommodations most, they get all taken away. That's like saying to a person who uses a wheelchair, sorry, you lost your wheelchair privileges. You have to walk. It's the most ridiculous thing. So, but I agree 100% with creating an environment where the person feels safe because that's exactly what the person needs. Is something somewhere where they feel safe. That's the whole point of an affirming church. For
Okay.
example, I was just looking at the LGBTQIA affirming churches and how do they accommodate LGBTQ people, who a lot of the autistic people are LGBTQ. And I would say that, yes, having a space, I like to move around and pace. Often when I go on my phone or getting distracted, it's because I'm feeling anxiety. But if I pace up and down, I don't feel such a need to do that. So having a space like a bean bag or having a space where the person can move back and forth, I was just even having a room where the person can see the service, but say like a side chapel, but say has an area where the person can move around, that has a window or you can see it. You can still see the service, so the person's still part of the service, but they can stem, they can move around, they can do what they need to do in order to be access. And yes, the headphones, absolutely. One of the things that dysregulates me is having, outside noise. Because often many churches open the windows and you'll have all kinds of lawnmowers, leaf blowers, all kinds of noisy stuff going on outside. So, but having the noise canceling headphones, the problem is I can't hear the service. But if you put the service through a closed loop system so the person could still hear it through the noise canceling headphones, that would work.
Okay.
Okay.
And then allow
So,
the person to move around.
Nicole, we're going to need to stop right now. And I think one of the things, Nicole, that you're talking about is we can listen and let the person with a disability or special needs tell us how they learn best, and also just talking with parents of younger kids about what the triggers are, what are some effective ways to handle some behavior issues. So a lot of it is in the communication and listening to the parents and family, and just knowing it, like Laura and Talia shared with us, what some of the resources are that we can use in those situations. So I'm going to go ahead and close the rooms. We'll go back to the larger group, although I think we're a larger group right now, and and just kind of summarize. So we'll be all taken back to the larger group.
Laura, I have a question for you while we're waiting for others to join, if that's okay.
Okay.
Um, can you purchase and download an individual material, or you join the membership and then that gives you access to all the materials?
So all of my materials are in the membership, but I do have the individual items on Teachers Pay Teachers. I don't have all of them yet, but I have
Okay.
most of them.
I'm just so curious to look specifically at the Old Testament resources and see, like,
Okay.
would there be, resources that would be appropriate? Maybe they would need to be tweaked a
Right.
little bit for our settings, but,
hmm
we're teaching a lot of the same Bible stories there. So,
Right. Right. So yes, I do have a Teachers Pay Teacher store, and it's called The Adapted Word. So
okay, I'm gonna look that up. Thank you.
And I'll just mention I'm at our church, we subscribe to um, the adaptive word. And as you can see, it's divided into Old Testament, New Testament, the different stories,
Mhm.
different categories. So it's really user friendly to use what you need to. And so, but yeah, a lot of overlap. And I think certain we could use some of your resources too, Tally, to teach Old Testament stories because you're so rich in that respect with resources. So uh, a lot of ways we can share and collaborate
Mhm.
uh, and so even though we are in different faiths, we share the same scripture and same beliefs. So um, I want to go ahead and thank Laura and Tally. Um, let's see, Rebecca wants to get a list of Christian Jewish resources to share. We can work on those, and if you have some, you could share with us, and we could share with the participants here. Uh, but thank you both for joining us, and really love to see some of the things. It brought a smile to my face to see how you were teaching Hebrew. As a special ed, with a special ed background, I've used those too, and having gone to seminary and taken Hebrew, I could see how you could use those. So just a great integration of education and religious education can take place for the inclusion of people with disabilities in our faith communities. So thank you so much. Next week on the Faith Inclusion Network, we'll have a webinar on starting a disability ministry. And Ryan Wolf from Abilities Ministry will be talking. And even though it is what we're finding, even though it is faith specific, a lot of the methods, like I say, that we use, the ideas of how to get started are similar. So we can share those back and forth. So, but that will be next Tuesday at 12 o'clock Central Time. And we'll be sending out invitations to join us for that webinar. Once again, with the recording, we will send it to all the registrants and participants here. And hopefully everybody has the contact Tally and Laura's contact information. So if you have further questions, feel free to give them a call or shoot them an email. And Tally just put it there. And Laura, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get Laura's there too. So again, thank you both, and appreciate all the work you're doing to help children and adults be included in faith communities. So until next week, we will talk with you later.
Thanks, everybody. It was nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you. Sorry we didn't have as many people in your room there, Tally.
That's okay.
But but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Tally, your stuff looks great. I learned stuff from your presentation, like what you offer and like everything, so that I learned, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive more into your resource as well.
And I'd like to get a little list going because there's a few more, Jewish as well as Christian groups that are having resources. And I mean, I always talk about Gateway, but I feel like people still may not know all
Yeah.
that you offer. So maybe we could even list you as like an organization on our website, something like that.
Yeah, we're happy to be a resource.
Yeah, yeah. On
Did
our
you
new
start it?
website, we will have Jewish resources, a listing of those. So, yeah, Gateways is certainly going to be on there, and uh, it's okay. We'll list you as well.
Okay, thank you. Tally, did you start Gateways?
No, no, I got to step into this work that many others started before me.
Okay.
So yeah, it started, Gateways is the result of a merger of two different organizations. So we had our Hebrew school program was its own organization, and then separately we had an organization that was sending the therapists into the schools. And so those two organizations merged to
Okay.
become Gateways.
Okay.
How long has it been around, Tali? I forgot.
Around the year 2000 was when it started. The merger was in 2008, I believe.
Oh, it's been a long
So
time.
it's been around for a while, yeah. Most and up until recently, most of our work is really focused locally in the Boston area. Over the last 5 to 10 years or so is when we've really been looking at, we sort of call our programs here our learning labs, where we develop all these resources and expertise. And we know that there's so many other places that don't have a local organization like ours, so we want to be able to share that. Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I wanted to make people aware that it really is not just the Boston metro area, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, exactly. The world has changed, so for better or for worse, we can reach beyond Boston. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. And I don't know about Jewish synagogues, but if they feel isolated or from the mainstream, from
Yeah,
organizations like yourself, um, or not. But my guess is that since the population is a lot smaller with Jewish synagogues, that there is a sense of isolation and not necessarily that connectedness that's needed to support one another.
right, right.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was another point in our breakout room. I forgot to mention that I don't know what denomination, Laura, that you are, but Tali was saying that they serve like all types of
Across all
Jewish.
denominations. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my church is non-denominational, so yeah.
Hmm.
So your curriculum could be for any Christian.
Yes. Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it was nice to meet you all. If there's any other follow-up, let me know.
okay,
And
sure.
will there be a survey or feedback or anything like that?
We don't have anything right now
Yeah.
set up,
Okay.
but I will
Just
be sending
curious.
you some information for your honorarium. So
Okay,
I'll
sounds good.
be emailing both of you about that.
Great.
Okay. Well, thank you for this opportunity, and Ryan Wolf will be great for that subject. So,
Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, hope you all have a good rest of your day, and
You as well. Thank you.
yes.
we'll stay in touch.
Sounds great. Take
Yeah.
care.
You too.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, I saw where Michael Levy was in your room.
Yeah,
Did
I
he ask any questions?
no, and then he left the room, and it was a little bit like we did stay for like maybe 10 minutes of the time, but there was only one person who was active, only me and this one other person were actively asking questions, and I was slightly confused because I invited so many Jewish groups and people, and I didn't realize, like, I guess most of them really were Christian.
Yeah, I really kind of expected more people who were Jewish as well.
Me
Um,
too.
so yeah, I was a little disappointed in that, but um, and I thought, yeah, I was kind of wished because he had some good questions. Michael Levy did.
Did he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Um, and I'll probably hear about that he didn't get his questions answered. But yeah, I thought with gateways that would have gotten more people who are Jewish interested. So uh,
Yeah, I sent to all the Jewish educator groups and like all the, yeah, all the, I don't know what you call it. Like there's even a few synagogues that have their own special programs. So I contacted them. Maybe people just, maybe they want to get the resources and they don't necessarily want to spend their time, on a webinar, maybe.
it could be they had other plans for lunch or something. Yeah,
True.
you just never know. You just don't know, um, who's going to show up or
I
uh,
know.
so Nicole just kind of started taking over there. She was on a rant.
Oh, yeah. When we joined, it seemed like people were asking some questions before that, maybe. I
Yeah, yeah. And Laura was talking, and I think Nicole posted ABA sucks, and
I saw that.
but yes. Um, anyway, I don't know if she'll be mad. I kind of cut her off, but um,
Oh,
No,
Nicole.
I get that. I get that for you did that for time. No, I get because you're on a time crunch. It's nothing personal, and obviously one person can't monopolize. But yeah, I think it was because it was at the same time on my iPad. This is on my phone. I was on my iPad on a Zoom about ABA, and they were suggesting absolutely horrendous things, like when a child is in crisis, when a child is in meltdown, remove all their coping strategies as a consequence, as a punishment. Remove all their coping strategies. Remove their iPads so the child can't communicate. Remove their STEM items, their fidget items, so that the child is absolutely in even worse sensory overload. I actually think these ABA therapists are just making things worse so that you'll keep calling them back and they can make more money. It's a business.
you may be right, Nicole. That does not make any sense, does it?
No, it's
To
seriously, it's like seriously saying you're a wheelchair user. We don't like that you're not going up and down the stairs, so we're going to take away your wheelchair privileges, and you're just going to have to walk.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good
as
point.
it's as
That's
ridiculous as that. ABA, no, because it was on because out of curiosity, I joined these ABA webinars about dealing with severe behaviors, this, that. Anyway, I do it because I'm curious. What is all this ABA? And it's absolute
Who was
unbelievable.
who was the
And
sponsor, Nicole? Do you know who was
probably
putting on this?
Autism Speaks, which is a eugenics group. But yeah, no, that the police, one thing terrifies me is the police. All their training is from Autism Speaks and by ABA therapists. So I have had some terrible encounters with police who are utilizing ABA on me.
Oh.
oh
It's
gosh.
absolutely terrifying. There have been horror stories about people being, beaten and stuff. It's absolutely terrifies me. And I was frustrated because I was trying to fill out a thing to comment on the Toronto Police Services Board about and their website wasn't working because I just really needed to say something about this. It's so ridiculous, a lot of this. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is exactly why I want to go into ministry because there's none of this ministry is taught by is done by autistic people for autistic people. It's all done by these therapists. None of it's done by people who actually know what like actually have a firsthand experience.
Oh yeah. That's invaluable, Nicole. And I think there's a lot of people who want to see people with disabilities speak from their experience in leadership positions. And so I can tell you from the Institute on Theology and Disability that we had last year, more people had disabilities that were speakers. And it just came across as more authentic and carried a lot more authority because they spoke from lived experience. And so that's important what you're doing and what you're trying to do there, Nicole. So I
Well,
applaud you for being brave enough to do that. Not everybody is brave enough to go out and try to lead. And so you just keep doing what you're doing and fighting for what you believe because it's important and you're important.
yeah, yes, thank you. Yeah, it's because I guess it took me a long time to even be able to go to church, and it's difficult even today, and that's why it just. But the hardest thing is try to get into university because to do it online, like do it in person would be too overstimulating, but to do it online, it uses some very complicated software, like two different apps that first app to get into is really almost impossible to navigate. And then you have to get through the first app to get into the second app. And it's very, very difficult. Things they could probably change, but I hope they're able to accommodate. It's like try to attend somewhere and you're a wheelchair user and you find stairs.
Yeah, yeah. There's always going to be those blocks, and but there's a place out there. It's getting better. It's just a matter of finding those doors that are open and easier to go through. Uh, so uh, just keep doing what you're doing there, Nicole. Okay. And think I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I have another meeting I need to get to. So
Sure.
I will see you, yeah, tomorrow.
Sure. Oh, did we stop recording? I don't know if we did.
Oh no, we were recording. I'm gonna have to, oops. Sorry.